Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Rogers. I'm the program director at the Chrysler Museum of Art Perry Glass Studio, and it's my great honor to welcome you all here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank folks from around the world for tuning in. I know it's quite late at some places in Europe right now, and I would like to thank the poets for joining us tonight and for letting us respond to your incredible work. We had an amazing time doing that. And I want to thank Peter from ODU for helping us kind of bring this all together and bring it to fruition. I'm Robin Rogers. This is my colleague, Katey Murphy, and we're from the Chrysler Museum of Art. And we're going to begin tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do at the Chrysler Museum and particularly at the Glass Studio. And then we're going to move into the world premiere of 3 short videos, which are in response to some poems, and the videos are in French with English subtitles. We're going to place into the chat some information about where you can rewatch these videos. I recommend watching them over and over and over to get the most benefit, as well as where you can learn more about these poets and purchase the book that these poems are all part of. So without further ado, I'm going to begin a little slideshow about what we do. So this is the Chrysler Museum of Art, and some of you watching may have been here before and many of you may have not, but we're located in Norfolk, Virginia. It's an amazing museum. We have a collection of art that has about 30,000 objects. 10,000 of those are glass objects. Our collection spans from ancient to contemporary and everything in between. I'm going to take you into the galleries here. This is actually a photograph I took today of a traveling show that's on view currently. This is our glass changing gallery. This is a show of Beverly Fishman's work from a few years back, actually I think about 2014. And then a shot from our Impressionist gallery. So I hope you have a chance to visit in person someday. You could spend hours in our museum. It's full of treasures. This is our Hubert Court, very beautiful atrium here. But this is the Glass Studio. So this is where Katey and I are every day. We're directly across the street from the museum, and this is a renovated bank building. And we're primarily an educational facility where we work with glass. Now, when you think of glass and you think of maybe blown glass, you might think of something like this, or perhaps, something like this. And we make things like this here, and we love things like this. And we do demonstrations for the public every day that we're open. We also offer classes where people can come in and try glass making for themselves, maybe for the first time, or maybe that's a new hobby and they can come back and create things in our studio. And we bring in world-renowned glass artists to demonstrate their process and work or show this directly to the public and work with our studio team. But something that we're kind of well known for and something that we've kind of championed at our glass studio is performance in glass and using glass in ways that create an experience for the audience. Not necessarily in ways that create an object, but ways that create an experience or a memory for the audience. And these traditionally happen at monthly events that we call Third Thursdays. And I'm going to show you just a quick overview of some of the things that happen in these Third Thursdays, because they involve a lot of different art forms. We're using glass to create exciting experiences, really engaging experiences. There's typically a lot of fire, maybe some smoke, maybe some breaking glass. A lot of times they culminate in a finale. So here's a moment where 5 bubbles of colored glass are simultaneously inflated inside of a clear bubble. There's no reason to do this other than creating a spectacle for the audience. Again, lots of fire, lots of smoke. They often involve music, live music. There's usually a live band, but sometimes, like in the case of this piece here, the band is the glass artist. So this is an artist named Chris Duffy working with his band Eaters, and they were creating glass as well as music at the same time. This is Deaf Sound, who's an artist from Los Angeles. working in the studio with the team. He's wrapping inside of a glass helmet that we created for him here. And there's lots and lots of experimentation. So a certain element of these events is always left to let's see what happens, because that's what makes it interesting for the audience as well as for us, the artists. This is Shay Rhodes. He's slapping a slab of molten glass. His hand has been dipped in water, so he didn't get burned, but it's very exciting. One of the other things we do in these performances is kind of look at phenomenon. So we exploit the phenomenon of glass and other materials to create these magical moments. Molten glass is such an incredible material, and you'll see in the videos tonight molten glass on display more than finished works of glass, because to myself, and I know to a lot of glass artists, when it's molten, when it's moving, when it's flowing, when it's alive, that's when it's most interesting. This is glass being poured onto slabs of molten or frozen ice with sculpted glass skeletons frozen inside the ice. This is Heather Sutherland walking across a runway of molten glass in her tall platform shoes made of wood. And this is Brian McGovern-Wilson. There's a lot of drama that's involved in these, sometimes with live actors. In fact, this is Brian, who is an actor as well as a glassmaker, portraying King Arthur in search for the Holy Grail. He was creating the Holy Grail right in front of us with his angels to assist him. There's often a lot of costumes involved and sets. This is Heidi Pelin's work where glass kind of collided with the banal everyday life of doing the laundry or making coffee, and the cups exploded because they were made of hot glass. And some figures from Alice in Wonderland as the sugar was poured into the teapot. So a lot of costuming, a lot of sets are created for these. We worked with a contemporary artist named Michael Menchaca based out of Texas, kind of bringing some of his illustrations to life through costuming and through glass. And this is our own Suzy Peterson, a performance. This is, believe it or not, the last performance we did before COVID-19, because things have been kind of on pause, as many things have been since then. But this was the team making confections. We were actually creating donuts out of glass. Jennifer Hand's work here, you can see, again, the costuming, the lighting. And then I'm gonna end with this slide, or the one after this. This is actually a Canadian artist named Laura Donnifer, who lives in Kingston, or near Kingston in Ontario. We created sort of a, almost, you've heard of Burning Man. Well, this is Burning Woman. This was an effigy covered in molten glass. And this is the very end where her paper arms went up in flames. It was quite a finale. And here's Laura Donnifer, if you ever get a chance to say hi. She's an incredible artist, again, based out of Kingston, Ontario. So that's what we've done in the past here at the studio. And when Peter reached out to Katey, so I'm going to introduce Peter here in just a moment. He's a professor. Peter Schulman is a professor at ODU, Old Dominion University here in Norfolk. He had this idea of kind of pairing us up with some Quebecois poets. And we love the idea because we felt like it was a chance to do more performance with glass. As I said, we've kind of had these on pause. February of last year was our last one. So the videos you're going to see tonight are very much a continuation of the performances that I just kind of highlighted for you. And Peter is a professor of world languages and culture at Old Dominion University. He's translated several books of poetry, and he's been nominated for the Penn Translation Prize in 2008. He also organizes an annual ODU Quebecois Poetry Festival. And I was thinking that maybe he could tell us a little bit more about that and how this collaboration came to be. And he's going to give us a very quick introduction to our poets tonight.
Thank you so much, Robin, and thank you so much to the Glass Studio, you, Katey, everyone, for your openness to what may have seemed like a very eccentric proposition at first, but bringing these three amazing, prestigious poets from Quebec and marrying them, so to speak, to your creativity. You're always on the avant-garde of glass creation in the world is for me a really beautiful moment. So we're all in this pandemic mode where we can't travel, we can't cross borders. And today we'll be crossing artistic borders, disciplinary borders, and have a fraternity of friendship across the border today through art and poetry. So thank you so much. Yeah, the Quebecois Poetry Festival is something I'm so proud of because it was a wonderful way of bringing Quebecois poets to Hampton Roads and have them interact with American poets and Norfolk poets and Virginia Beach poets, and to create this link. And so now that we can't actually bring people in person, here to have this three-dimensional encounter is really beautiful to me. So thank you so much, Robin. And just a few words on our magical poets. I like to call them the three musketeers of poetry. They're all extremely prestigious. Louise Dupré has published over 20 books, including Plus haut que les flammes, Beyond the Flames, which, by the way, is made into a film. So another transdisciplinary event that we'll be showing at ODU on Eventbrite in April for National Poetry Month. So you're all invited to that. And La Main Hantée, The Haunted Hand, which both won the Governor General's Award for Poetry in 2014. And she was appointed to the Order of Canada for her contributions to Quebec literature as a poet, novelist, playwright, essayist, and professor. So it's an extremely high honor. Diane Régimbald also is PEN's International Women's Writers Committee Chair, a leader in poetry in Canada. She has published several collections of poetry and was a finalist for the Governor General's Poetry Award of Canada. So it's extremely prestigious. She has also participated in several anthologies and collective projects and literary events in Quebec, in Haiti, in Mexico, in Colombia, and all throughout Europe. And Denise Desautels has strong ties to the world of visual arts as well. And she's published more than 40 volumes of poetry, prose narratives, and artistic books. She's earned numerous honors, including the 2009 Prix Anatase David, the highest literary distinction award awarded by the Quebec government. So we're extremely honored to have you three, and I'm extremely honored to be able to merge them with my favorite glass studio in the world. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Peter, and thanks again, everyone. So what we're going to do is we're going to, as I said, debut these videos. We're going to start with Diane's piece. The videos are brief, so I hope you can enjoy them. Turn your volume up, settle yourselves, and focus in. We're going to post the links to these videos so you can watch them again later. And we're going to put all this into the chat. We'll follow up as well with an email for all attendees afterwards. After each video, we're going to hear a little bit from the poet themselves. And we can also take questions in the chat. We can take questions at the end after all the videos as well. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and play the first video.
Lune d'orange d'été, tes bras au ciel de la rue, un vertige ne dure pas. Rejette tes pensées, puise dans la soif, libre d'étirer les fibres chaudes, entourant tes hanches, gorgées de l'inattendu. C'est en rêvant de la chair de cerise de terre en bol de peau que désir s'est offert des sentiers gravés d'aisance, buissons chargés d'amour en cage, lanterne pour éclairer la faim. Nos robes voyagent à l'ardeur du temps. Les pistils de safran au drap du jour courent dans la prière inventée que donne l'orange. Nos mains déchirent la pulpe à vif. Toujours le recommencement rond. Ta voix ouvre une porte ancienne, une gravité inattendue. Sur la pointe des vœux, foule les rayons, glisse sur les opales de feu, vole dans les airs censés ouvrir les nuages. Le ciel argumente ses couleurs, la peau le sait. Rien ne peut prédire les volontés des horizons, les flammes du vent creusent l'essence, s'apaisent à l'arrêt du souffle. Ne pas vouloir que l'horizon échappe ses coloris de force vive, là tu dis, l'épaisseur du chou, l'ivresse. Vin orange du plaisir coule dans la gorge, tel le fruit d'attente, vibrant de l'apogée des résidus. Les flammes hypnotisent nos yeux, d'acier oxydé, de courroies, de lierre aux pieux, les emmêlés, aux arrachés des ronces. Bois mort, arbitre consumé. Elle brûle tout, et avec elle, la beauté pose un baiser sur nos infinis. Nos bouches, comme le haut de l'orange, amère ou douce force vitale, excitée par la chaleur répandue, pareille à une dose de métamorphose vive, terriblement ouverte à sa puissance incarnée, si vibrante, étendue.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed that. Diane, this poem, you know, first reading it and thinking of glass, of course, orange and glass seemed like, oh, there's a lot of connections already. But when you were speaking about the warm fibers and the skin, you know, glass has a skin as it cools. You know, so the poem is so sensual, and the line about unexpected gravity, you know, all of these things, like immediately we're making light bulbs going off in our heads. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Robin. I would like to thank also Peter Schulman because, wow, what a fantastic idea he had to propose to the Perry Glass Studio this project of notebooks of color. And thank you to you and to Katey because it's a big gift you give us to propose that creation. It's amazing for me to receive this. I will say about this project particularly, when Claire Delbar, the publisher of L'Atelier des Noyers in France, invited us to write poems about colors, she proposed me orange or gray. I choose the orange color for the boldness of this color, the deep signification of his strength and his beauty, and also his vibration. It is a color who can mean many things, but for me, the multiple tonality of the orange, from the most solar to its darkness, is all in nature, so organic. Of course, the sun, the strongness of the reflection in the sky, in the water, the light, the multiple fruits, vegetables, the desire that the orange call is skin, the earth, the stones. And I think you make something very nice with those poems. And I start to write the poems with a woman in her solitude and her desire about life, and questioning how to be, how to touch, how to encounter the other. It was a journey in the sensuality and the desire of life, a journey inside the color orange, a dance of the senses circulating between landscape and interiority. This is what I say. I could continue if you want to say about those questions I receive from Katey about how the poetry is more imagery, how it comes first. And I will say, for me, it's a combination of reflection, imagery, intuition, and exploration. I like to work with a thematic and a form. Then it was fine for me to know that I had to work in constraint here. It was a constraint because it's challenging and stimulating. Then here it was 20 pages to write, 6 lines per page. This is the little book. And I met the artist Christine Brioul. I would like to talk about her and her photography work after I submit my poetic suite. Then we had to talk to give our impression about it. We had a nice complicity because for me, my preference goes to her abstractions pics. She agreed with it. And I have to say that the color orange is her favorite too. A very nice contribution. I would like to show you inside some pics, you know, like this. It's going this. You have a 6 line of poems and a pic. And this one, it's with amber. And another one, this one. I have to take this out. Then it was fantastic to make this book and that this book go out of the book. I'm so happy about that. How do I begin my poem and how they are finished? It came in a kind of a meditation. I go deep inside and I let the flow of images, reflections going down and try not to interrupt the flow of what it go. It is a kind of a walk in a way to find the just thing. And also it is important to refer to the other. Here, a writer that I really like, Hélène Sigsu, she's a French writer who wrote a book dedicated to Clarice Lispector, a Brazilian writer. And she wrote a book, Vivre l'Orange, To Live the Orange, bilingual book, translated by Anne Liddell and Sarah Cornell, and established by the author. Then the quote, "Who open Heart of Orange" by Hélène Sigsu is, I just want to tell you that, the orange is a beginning. Starting out from the orange, all voyages are possible. All voices that go their way via her are good. And about the question, how do I know when a poem is finished? It is when, after many rewriting, I feel the correctness of his music. I hear a voice and his exactitude. But in fact, it is always a doubt, because how to know how the reader will receive the poem? It's always the same with creation, of course. And then I finish with those questions about how do I relate to my specific poem and to my poetry. Here, I connect to my text here by the round shape of the orange color, its roundness, its curves, the circulation of its waves, just like the body, just like the memory. I connect to a poem when I know I am in. My connection with poetry, my own poetry, it is questioning life. It is in language, the meaning of words. I just want to enter into the words, into tongue, and write with consciousness and lucidity about the world and the space of intimacy of the body and his memory, the links between us, how it is possible to reveal an emotion, a sensation, a form, a color, a texture, a music, a silence. All silence you can hear in poetry, in creation, to open mind, my mind. Then thank you all to be here with us tonight. I'm so happy to this performance you give to me and to us.
Thank you. Thanks again. Yeah, that's wonderful. It's interesting you're talking about the constraint of the form as you were working with this idea of orange, and that's as we created these videos, we were working with what you created, and so it's really, really beautiful symbiosis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the next video we're going to premiere tonight is Louise's okra. Excuse my French. So I'm going to once again share my screen. And I need to make sure that I share the sound. Okay, I think we'll be good.
Ocre, sagesse du quartz qui a su résister à tous les volcans, flamme aux veines endurcies, foi vive, foi capable de déplacer les constellations. Je porte alors mon regard à travers les trous du temps, là où la terre recrache ses ossements, telle une lave de syllabes dépossédées. Ocre, odeur de fer, d'argile et de cendre, âcre odeur qui colle à mes cordes vocales comme une ancienne prémonition. Je supplie la terre de me laisser vivre quelques décennies encore, avant de m'engloutir dans le tremblement de son silence. Ocre, corps à corps avec l'opacité de la matière, ombre jaunie jetée sur les cimetières d'où je reviens, sans avoir demandé ni le jour ni l'heure. C'est si près de nous, l'avenir, s'est enfoui sous nos pieds, s'est fermé comme le mot fin à la dernière page d'un mauvais roman. Ocre, vocable clos, cœur brûlé, cœur d'hiver, que je roule sous mes paumes sans savoir dans quelle main le déposer. Ocre comme octobre, comme le vent dans la chevelure desséchée des arbres, ou l'effroi devant l'oubli qui nous attend. Mais je continue pas à pas de descendre vers les paysages volés à la lumière. J'appartiens à la terre et j'écris.
Okay, Louise, I may have cried a few times when I was editing this video. This poem was very moving to me, and I mean, immediately you're talking about the quartz and volcanoes, and you talk about lava, you know, obviously glassy things. But the line, "I beg the earth to let me live just a few decades more," I mean, that was really getting me. And like the words on the last page of a bad novel, like, I don't know, there's many moments in this that really got me. And I thank you for again sharing and letting us work on this piece. Is there anything you'd like to say about this one?
So thank you so much, Peter, for presenting the video. But I want to thank Peter Schulman for the wonderful translation of our poems. And I also want to thank Peter another time, and you, Robin, and Katey Murphy, and all those who were involved in the organization of this event and in the realization of the videos. Thank you to the Chrysler Museum of Art and to the Glass Studio also. So, what can I tell about this book? When writing poetry, a single word may ignite the whole process of creation. The word ochre, is most inspiring. I like its sonority, and it is the color of soil. I am a person intimately related to soil. When I was a child, I loved to play in the sand. I like gardens. I plant flowers and sow herbs during summertime. After my death, I want to be buried underground. Ochre is the color of pottery. It is also the color of the beautiful Knossos Palace I visited in Crete some years ago. All those images and souvenirs came back when I began to write Carnet Ocre. It was such a pleasure. I enjoyed every moment. It is not a sensual book, a book about desire. It is a philosophical book, a book about life and death. When Claire asked me to write a book about color ochre, I had never met Anouk van Rentagel, but I had seen her imagery in the book Novembre, written by Olivier Delbar. The book was so beautiful. I was impressed page after page. I found affinity with my own writing. Our inspirations were in sync. Claire sent my poems to Anouk, and when I saw her drawings, I was amazed. Her visual expression of the poems revealed the deep emotion and meaning of what I had written. So I can speak, as Diane of my poems, when do I know that a poem is finished? Oh, and how do I know it? My poems begin when I have written the first verse. I know there is a poem there. And then I follow the path to the last word. Later on, I read the poem aloud and correct it. Rhythm and sonorities are most important. The music of the poem is as essential as the signification for me. I ask myself if each word is the best I can choose, if useless words can be erased, if each verse has the correct length. A poem is finished when I can't change anything. It may take a lot of time, even if the poem is short. So what is my relation to the specific poem? I have published novels and short stories, but I am always a poet first, even when I write a novel. Poetry is a special vision of the world because of the specific use of words. One of our great Québécois poets, Saint-Denis Garneau, said that the poet is like a child who plays. He considers words like playing parts. It is the same for me. When I play with words, I discover things that I don't see usually because I don't take the time to see them. Poetry makes me create another reality that opens my mind. I become another person. So maybe someone has more questions, but it is what I had to say about Carnet Ocre. Maybe show you some imagery of Anouk van Rentgen.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There was a question in our question and answers little pocket here about whether the books might be available at the museum shop. And that's a great question. I can talk to our shop manager about potentially getting some copies of the books in. We're going to post information about how you can purchase them online, but it'd be nice and convenient for folks in Norfolk to pick them up right here. Thank you so much, Louise. So we have one more video, and I'm really excited about this one. Denise's Violet Hour. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. This was actually the first video we finished editing. And we kind of filmed them all simultaneously, but this is the first one that we completed the editing on. So enjoy.
T'emploie au juste le mot. Dis. Menace, battement, camp, crime. Mes doigts blessés l'ont flairé. Sonore, alors dite dévoilée. Vie, viol, violon, violent. Vite, ville, vol. Quoi? Est-ce encore le soir? Teinté, sauvage, aveuglant. comme un instinct de vieille voyelle. Je le sens. Yolo vie revient. Cheval de guerre sur ma joue et vaste, vaste bris d'humanité. J'ai vu du violet ininterrompu sur un fil long. À l'heure dite, 36 cuerpos, leur sang sur une corde, où dansent déjà quelques oiseaux. Teresa Margolies, artiste, au centre des pleurs. J'ai vu, et nos yeux sont si seuls. Improvisation de verre, de vent, envoûtement et débâcle. Viens, avance. Vengeons nos voix d'ombre, vouons-nous à recoudre avalement et amour. Algue après algue. Serons-nous là encore, longtemps? La mer en nous, là, une enveloppe d'air, et l'étreinte du si peu qui reste. Parmi tous nos yeux, un vague ciel, suaire, le nôtre peut-être. Février vacille, autour de cette voix qui disait: c'est à se demander si nos lèvres, d'archives un jour, de nouveau vaincront. Mais jusqu'où aveugles vont-elles? J'ai vu, et un soir ça s'enflamme. Le violet s'ouvre jet. Mon seul cœur crie, craque, viole tout, tue. Le vieil enfant trop vastement là, son esclave maternelle, sa fratrie volée en vain tout. J'ai vu la table empoisonnée, clairvoyance et mémoire éparse tout. Ma bonté a volé violente, foudre glacée. Vers quelle raison du cœur? Victime, sans vitrail nos visages. Et les veines du cristal, imprévues, enclavées. Entre vautours et fauves, griffes aux chevilles. Rivées, l'évidence. Dévorons-nous vite. C'est la vie, dévorons-nous. Et le livre voué à l'aboiement dévaste les faits. C'est l'hiver. Nous avons du grabuge plein nos tambours, nos jointures. C'est vital, vociférons.
Okay, Denise, I love this one. You talk about just kind of, there's a certain amount of uncertainty in the veering, and it made me think of the spinning plate, and kind of we use that imagery quite a few times in this one. The vast, vast fractured piece of humanity. That line just says, stuck with me since I first heard it or read it, and remaining a bit longer, and just this longing for more time. And really enjoyed making this one, and thank you again.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you for having illuminated my words. Thank you, Peter, for your dazzling translation. It's wonderful. It's a gift, a real gift. My English is so-and-so. I will try to be clear. This book is composed of 19 poems of 7 lines each. I like to give myself constraints. The 2 epigraphs set the tone. The first one is taken from The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, and the second one from Toute minute est première, something in English like Every minute is first, by the French author Marie-Claire Bancard, a book where writing, darkness, and poison are put forward. These poems, full of shadows, like the world we live in, are inhabited by different forms of violence, small and great, intimate and collective. This violence leaves its stain everywhere in the form and in the language itself. In each poem, the art unvoiced consonants come in an accelerated way to oppose the sonorous ones. And this violence also marks the rhythm of each poem. This is my second book with Erika Povilunite, a young and brilliant artist who lives and studies in Dijon, but who was born in Lithuania, where she recently exhibited her work and our books in a library. What comes first? For our first collaboration, Noir, Black, the pictures came first. I made my choice among more than 100 drawings he sent me, a mix of some amazing, intensely black, atmospheric landscapes and strange figures, and some part of her images infiltrated my poems. For our second book, this one, The Violet Hour, the text came first. After reading the text, Erika offered me different series of work, other landscapes and figures, but with her and our superb publisher, Claire Delbar, we decided to go elsewhere, towards falling, delicate colored strokes. Erika plays here with darkness and light, brightness and fragility. I like how she plays with the frame of the page in different ways. I like her to be rebellious. Maybe you can see something. Maybe like this. And this. I like her to be rebellious, that she leaves the frame and goes out. Where? I don't know, but off the page. It's like a miracle. Her astonishing drawings somehow soften the pain and the violence present elsewhere in my words. Where do my poems begin? A long time ago. Maybe with the first book I published over 45 years ago. It's not easy to answer this question because everything is still there, surrounds me and inhabits me. Childhood, life and death, previous books, daily news, the world with its pains, everything I see, I read, I hear, all of that. And how do I know they are finished? In this case, the constraints imposed by the number of pages and the book's format made it easier for me. I told myself that another book could come and allow me to continue this Violet Hour later. Otherwise, writing is never finished. How do I relate? I'm a woman of doubt, an anxious woman. My relation to my work is always ambiguous. I still feel a mixture of joy, gravity, and worry. I still feel, yes, so I never know, in this case and in others, if I am happy when a book is finished, even if writing is essential to me. I'm always trying to voice thought and imagination, to make meaning in this troubled, meaningless, insane, but also human world. I'm always trying to do this, working, playing with language, sounds, words in syntax. Always trying to be rebellious as Erika is when she plays with forms and colors. Voilà.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone. So we can stay on a few more minutes. If anyone out there watching has questions, please put them into the chat and we can take those as they come. Also, Katey has posted some links in the chat, so you might want to open these up or copy them before the webinar ends so that you'll have them, and we can follow up with an email so that you'll have them. But there's a link where you can find this incredible book. I've seen the PDF of the book. I haven't seen it in person, but I need to buy myself a copy so I can have it. The incredible photographs and illustrations that go along with these poems. And then she's also posted a link to the videos from tonight, so you can watch these again if you'd like. So if there's any questions out there, type them now. But again, I thank everyone for joining us, for tuning in, for this opportunity. I hope that it's not the last time that we collaborate like this, because
Oh, I hope not.
I really enjoyed it. The studio, I know everyone around the studio enjoyed working on this project, and love to do more.
Well, I think we can arrange that. But I want to say a few words just while we have a break, like waiting for questions. I'm really humbled by these three poets and working with them and connecting with these texts that were so moving. And as you were saying, it was like being an other person when you translate. But I'm so grateful to Robin and Katey for not only allowing this to happen, but for translating something else. Robin, you're a great director. What you did is brilliant. You created something new that's brilliant, and it's a symbiosis of all these words. Translating words is a craft, but translating images in this poetic way with music, I could listen to it for ages just to calm down from this horrific world sometimes. It's brilliant. I think you should go to the Cannes Film Festival with that, because you're a good director. You're a really good director. So translating images, translating music, translating everything is a real art. And so I'm really grateful to you.
Thank you. I mean, the inspiration was there, you know, the words, and then the material we work with is so incredibly beautiful. I'm just somewhere in between those two things, I think, because the glass, you know, as the videos show, in its molten state is just poetic in and of itself. So yeah, I think one of the comments was a symbiosis, and I think there was some symbiosis that happened here. And yeah, look forward to doing it again.
Go to Cannes. Go to the Cannes Film Festival. You got what it takes.
All right. And I really want to thank Katey, my colleague, for doing an incredible amount of work on this. organizing, you know, as they say, herding the cats and contributing. She worked cameras and had ideas towards the videos as well. So thank you, Katey. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to all of you tuning in. I haven't seen any specific questions coming through on the chat. Do you have time to tell us more about the glass artists? Sure. So I can tell you the glass studio, there's about 20 some people that work at the studio, and we are all artists. We've all, most of us have come to art kind of through academia. So both Katey and I have master's degrees in fine art, specializing in glass. A lot of the artists there are either a bachelor's degree or master's, but we've all kind of dedicated a great portion of our life to working with glass, learning this material. Myself, I've been working with glass for 25 years. And it's one of those things that if you've ever had a chance to work with the material, it's really captivating and you kind of get hooked on it and you can't, you know, it works its way into your dreams, and then, you know, 25 years later, you're still with the material. But like I said, I make objects out of glass, I make sculptures, I collaborate with my wife, Julia, and I love all that. But the material in its molten state is the most fascinating part, which is why I really enjoyed this project, because we were able to, you know, showcase it in its molten state. And again, that's with our performance series, that's kind of the point of the performance, is to show glass in this beautiful molten state that a lot of people don't get to experience it that way.
Mm.
Robin, we do have a question for the poets, asking if there was a color associated with silence from Paul. I don't know if one of you would like to start with an answer to that.
Well, I could say I talk about silence, and well, maybe when the glass is absolutely transparent. Say the same, Peter?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And then, for in poetry, for me, the silence, and I think in creation, it's like when you can stop to all the words, all the images, and you just focus in, and the silence is there. It's like how do you say un vide, Peter?
Void.
Exactly, a void.
Void.
It's a void, and I think for me it's important to work with a void, many voids. And maybe Louise and Denise, you want to say something?
Just to add, Diane, that for me, silence is intimately related to the verse, you know, and particularly if the verse is short, because there is a silence after each verse in the poem. So we listen to the respiration of the poem. So silence is as important as words, I think, and it takes parts of rhythm too. So thank you for your question.
It's Chantal Ringuet, who answered this question. Chantal, I will go in the same way. It's the white of the page who is the silent, who leaves the silent on the white part of the page, around the words. And sometimes the white is great when we put only some words on a page.
I was thinking too about the clear of the glass, because to the glass, we always talk about the clear is our blank canvas that we start with, and we add color to it. And of course, silence is so important in music, just as important as the notes is the space in between them.
Can I ask a question to Robin?
Yeah.
It is so amazing to see our words associated to glass. It is wonderful. How do you choose the images to go with the words?
So we went into the studio and basically just shot a lot of footage. Let's shoot this, let's do this. I had a few things in mind, but a lot of it was just experimental. Let's try this, let's try this. And then when I got into the editing of the video, I listened to your words maybe at least 20 times before I did anything. And then I broke it down stanza by stanza and kind of, I didn't want to be too literal, but you know, for instance, in the Violet Hour, I think you talk about my wounded fingers felt the sonorous something or other. And it's like, okay, I have a shot of a hand like moving, you know, so some of it was a little literal, but mostly by feel as well, and just kind of piecing it together, puzzling it together, moving around until it felt right. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question too, if I can, to you, Robin.
Sure.
It is the first time you work with words, glass and words, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've made a lot of videos and we've done a lot of performances and we've worked with musicians and dancers and live actors, but it's the first time that I've worked so intimately with a poem or specific words. Yeah, I would say so. And
it help the way it's notebooks of colors, then you have the thematic, the color, you have other contents, but you have the colors.
Yeah.
Stimulate.
Yeah, that was very, very helpful, very inspiring. Again, with I think when I first heard the poems, the Violet Hour, there's a piece of stained glass that I kind of very closely zoom in on. I immediately started thinking about that because it's so purple, it's so violet, it was broken, it was stained glass, like a lot of like things clicked right away. And again, in the orange, talking about the skin and like, oh, the glass and the skin. Some of those visuals came to me almost instantly as soon as I read the poem. Like I started to see them in my head. Okay. Yeah.
I love particularly the round piece violet, which turn in mind and turn and felt after. It's a beautiful moment in the video.
Thank you. And I think I was hoping to capture that, time was going away as it was winding down, as it was getting closer to the ground, time was slipping away as it was kind of suggested in the poems. And it was also cracking and breaking apart as it was doing that. The glass disc that we were spinning was hot. It was 1,000 degrees. And it was cooling and cracking as we were doing that. There's a question in French. I can't, there's a couple.
Oh, Sylvie is asking if this program, this interview will be available afterwards, like to be able to watch it again.
So I have recorded it and I promised all the poets that if we liked how it goes, we might make it public. And if we didn't like how it goes, we might stash it away, but I think it went pretty well. So most likely we'll make it available. Yeah.
We also have a French question in the question and answer. I'm not sure if Peter or one of the poets can answer that.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
In the question and answer button, there's a French question from Isabel.
At the bottom it says Q&A. Peter, do you see that?
It's about YouTube, mettre les vidéos sur YouTube, or?
No, it says something about the color oak, orange, et violet. And then I can't pronounce the last part. I apologize.
I see the comments, but where's the Q&A?
How about the
Katey, can you-
colors, orange, violet, and ochre taste differently?
I pasted it into the chat.
Oh, I got it. Wow, that's interesting. It's more interdisciplinary, like synesthesia. Does ochre, orange, and violet, do they have a particular taste?
The question is for
For
For all of
Group,
you.
I think.
us, I can begin if you want. Will I answer in French or in English or both? So, Isabelle, so I will speak in French and maybe you can translate, Peter.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Alors, pour moi, oui. Je réfléchissais au texte de Diane pendant qu'elle le disait et au texte de Denise à la couleur violette. Et effectivement, je pense que ce n'est pas un hasard si nos livres ont 3 tonalités différentes. Ça tient de nos personnalités, bien sûr, mais ça tient aussi de la couleur. Comme je le disais, je ne m'imaginerais pas faire un livre sensuel avec de l'ocre. Ocre est une couleur grave. C'est une couleur de la terre, c'est une couleur de la survie, alors que orange, l'orange, c'est bon, l'orange, c'est juteux, c'est sensuel, une orange. Et le violet a quelque chose de mystérieux et on l'a bien vu dans la vidéo, de sorte que les 3 couleurs sont très différentes et nous obligent à faire d'une certaine façon des livres différents.
Yes, that was beautiful. Louise said that the colors represent the personalities of the 3 poets on one hand, and they also represent different things. So her is really more earthy, grave, and serious, and she doesn't really associate that so much with the sensuality or taste. Orange, that is like really sensual and juicy, and then Diane was talking about the wine, and violet too is this mysterious color that Robin so amazingly portrayed in the video. Like those images were really like breathtaking, and so yeah, not all of them have the same taste for sure.
maybe we can taste it. It's a liqueur, but it's an old one. I never opened it's a gift I received. I never opened the bottle, but it's violet.
Oh,
Someone want to taste it?
mhm. Yeah, I would have the orange wine though. I feel like having orange wine because of the
So good.
summer. It's so evocative of summer and duality.
Say, Denise, can I take your liquor in my ochre glass?
I will open it for the first time. Oh, you want it?
Yes, I want it.
This is like why I like Gallic events. There's always eating and drinking. It's great.
Diane or Denise, do you feel there's a taste associated with the colors?
For me, violet is like a bit black. My first book with Erika was around this color, black. And I think with the second, I continue the same book. Not the same way, but I'm there. I'm a black woman. Is it possible to say that now with the word black. I don't know. Maybe it's a gaffe. How do you see gaffe in English?
Slip,
Yeah.
a fault, a mistake, a fault.
Okay. And I always writing with violet ink.
Oh.
Always. Since many 20 years, maybe. And I like the other of this color with the flower.
It reminds me of
Ochre as the other of soil, you know. So we can't, we can smell soil, you know, and flowers and summer and spring, but we can't drink it.
It reminds me of this book by Boris Vian in the 40s, he wrote it, or 50s, called The Froth of the Days, L'écume des jours. And there's a character who loves jazz, and he has a pianoctel. It's a piano that responds to colors, and it makes cocktails from the jazz that he's playing. So it's this intricate machine. He plays a jazz tune, and then out will come like a colorful cocktail. So that's something for the local restaurant scene to try.
Well, for me, the orange, well, it was a goal because to decide to choose orange between gray and orange, I choose orange. And it was a défi. A défi, it's a
challenge.
A challenge, yeah, it was a real challenge for me. But I decided to go in the color, what I said that before, and to go to all the tonality, because orange, you have the flash orange, but you have dark orange too, you know, closer to ash. You can, you know, when the fires go down, you still have some orange, how do you say, tison?
Embers?
Embers, yeah, and with the ashes. And then, yeah, for me it was a challenge, but I think I decided to go in this sensuality of the orange, because it was motivating me to do that. And of course, if I will have another color, the challenge is very different. You know, I love violet. Always, I was young, and violet was a color, wow, for me, very important. And of course, it's so different to write something with violet and with ochre too. But ochre and orange, you can make something closer. You can go in the ochre.
Of course.
It's very interesting because it you know, the earth, if you go in a beautiful place in Quebec, Île de la Madeleine, you have something, the earth with the orange is so impressive. It's wonderful. Then that's, I think it gives other constraint when we have a thematic, you know, Louise have a thematic of joy recently to make a poem. Then it's not a thematic of pain, it's joy. Then how do you can work with different kind of thematic, change, not change too much. It change your the way you write something, but it how do I say that? It's like a walk in another way, and you find you explore, like in a travel, some words, some meanings. Yes, some meanings.
We stay the same writer, but sometimes the constraint opens some doors, a window.
Of course.
And
doors, windows.
can go just a bit in March. Sometimes it's so surprise us.
And you make me realize something that I had written another book at l'Atelier des Noyers with our marvelous publisher Claire Delbar, and the name is Rose, pink, and I never realized that ochre and roses were linked, you know, because roses are flowers, you know, and ochre is the color of soil. So rose, pink, is the color of hurt. Also, you know, there is a link between the two colors. So it is very interesting. All that is unconscious when we chose the title of the themes of our books. And after that, we think about that and we realize that, yes, there are links. So it's interesting. Our discussion is interesting tonight.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, sometimes some of those links come years later and, oh, that's why I did that, or that's how that's connected.
Yes.
There were just a couple other questions. I think we'll wrap up here shortly. One person asked, for this special event, did the glass artists create specific artworks that we might see somewhere or where they'll be in the future? So the short answer is no, because everything we did in the videos, those objects were filmed hot, they were created hot, and they broke, and they're no longer with us.
Wow.
And I love that. It was more about that moment. It really wasn't about creating an object. It was about creating that moment. So that's not to say I might make something orange or violet or ochre someday, a sculpture. But for this particular event, it was all about just that moment and not about creating a specific object for later. And then another question, are there plans to translate these beautiful volumes to readers all over the world?
I'm translating it. I'm doing an English version of them. So I vouch for myself.
Will that be published?
I hope so. Yes, it will definitely be published. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's in French now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's something we can explore as a further collaboration with the Chrysler if you wanted to do something there too. With it. I have schemes for this publication.
So any final thoughts? My thoughts are just gratitude to all of you and to everyone tuning in for this wonderful collaboration. Yeah, gratitude is such a beautiful word. I'm so honored to be amongst you all. You're brilliant, and to be like a matchmaker really warms my heart because you're all totally brilliant. So thank you. We need this on a dark night in February.
Thank you very much to all of you.
I will say the same. Thank you very much. Wow.
It's a great night.
Yeah, bravo. Bravo.
Yeah, vive l'art, long live art.
Yeah.
The breaking of borders and the breakings of disciplines.
Yes.
And vive la traduction. L'image et la vidéo et les artistes.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup, beaucoup.
Long live translation of all different forms, right? Words, images, glass being transformed itself. It's very humbling.
Absolutely. So I hope maybe we'll meet in person someday.
Oh, no, we would like to go.
Come to Norfolk, Virginia, visit the Chrysler Museum of Art. Anyone watching, this is an open invitation. Also, I absolutely love Quebec, and I hope to visit again before too long. So anyone that's never been to Quebec, go. You will not regret it.
When the border will open?
Yeah, once the borders open. We'll get through this. We're almost there, I hope. So thanks again to everyone. I hope you have a great evening.
Yeah, bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Au revoir. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.